Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the second episode of the Prof Perspective Podcast. I am here with Dominic Garcia.
Howdy, howdy.
And Reid Lindemann.
Hello.
And it hasn't been that long, has it? Since the previous episode?
It's been a minute.
I think it was like at the start of COVID that we did the last one. I think the only reason we did the first one was because we were unable to talk to each other because of the lockdowns that were going on at the time. And now it is actually, in an ironic twist of fate, much the same thing, because now we are all at college and cannot talk to each other again.
It'd be like that.
Yes, sir.
So it's been a while. We haven't actually done any short films since. Well, I've done one. I actually did a really fun short film called Task Unfathomable, which was it was a sequel to Task. Well, it wasn't in the same universe, but it's sort of like that same kind of like, mission-y kind of vibe, which is a play on Mission Impossible, where this one guy he has this time travel app and he like tries to fix this date that's going like terribly. It would have been nice to have y'all involved, but unfortunately, life is just like that. But hopefully we can do some more stuff in the future.
Dude, I was about to say, I remember seeing this on YouTube and I thought it was like the best thing ever, man. I thought it was such a good video. Like, did you make that while you're over there in college?
Oh yeah, it was like it wasn't like UIL or anything like that, like we used for the other films, but it was sort of like this internal, like little sort of contest thing. It was also for a grade, and it got screened like in front of because like some of the best rated ones were like screened in that class, like in front of, like they brought in like the other film teachers and they would come do this big presentation. And
wow,
I think we got like a 98. I don't know. I don't have access to my grade book from like 2 or 3 years ago anymore, which is unfortunate. But I remember we did pretty well, so I was proud of that. I've also missed not having the involvement of our film teacher, Coach Nash.
Oh, dear Coach Nash, dude, we miss him. He's not dead.
Oh yeah, he hasn't died.
It's only been like 4 years.
Yeah. What would be awesome, Dominic, is trying to get Coach Nash in on a podcast or something like that. Like,
oh my goodness! Like we just like get him recording himself on his iPhone, just doing something. Or if he actually can make it onto it, that would be the best guest star experience, bro.
I you know what? That's like a bucket list now. We got to get our old film teacher in for one of these. That'd be amazing. So I guess Dominic, what have you've been up to? Because you did something really cool lately. Like it was like 2 years of your life that you were doing this, right?
Yes, sir. For my church, I was a missionary, and so I basically did it for 2 whole years, living down in Mexico, in the great state of Sonora. So I did that and lived among the people for that time, and it was awesome. It was such a wonderful experience. I had a blast, and coming back was like almost like if that scene in Captain America, the first one, where he's like coming out of the ice, dude. I'm telling you, you don't hear a lot of things going on down there in Mexico.
Oh, so, I thought you were gonna say it was like that scene where he comes back with all the soldiers from the the camp. The epic music is playing, and the epic music's playing, and Dominic's coming back
with all these Mexicans. Let's go, guys! Let's go.
It was so nice to hear back from, because to everybody at home who is familiar with our stuff, we like me and Dominic throughout high school, like we were real close friends, and then
yes, sir.
And then a couple years ago, like unfortunately, like we just had no contact with you. So I was honestly genuinely a bit worried that I would never actually talk to you again, because I didn't know what the whole situation was. So when that one day, like a couple months, it's been a little while, but that one day when I got a message from you, it was amazing. I was like, he's back.
He's alive. He didn't get shot down there in good old Mexico.
Oh no.
No, yeah.
Yeah, I was really worried, and it's real nice to talk to you, Dominic. I'm glad you're chilling.
No, likewise. Thanks for having me here. This is awesome. I'm like super hyped. I miss this kind of stuff too. It's always been so fun. I tell everyone like that I meet, just probably the best times in high school was whenever we were just acting like a bunch of idiots, just like filming these like awesome like short
Yeah.
films, just like I don't know, just expressing our little creative muscles that we got, and I was there for the ride. You're always the guy editing everything, and I just loved just being in it or holding the boom mic, man. That was like the
Oh,
main thing for me. I loved it.
yeah, and even the most recent one, which was it was freshman year of college when that happened, which is it's crazy, but the Onerous holiday special. Like I remember, what happened is like I called you out of the blue. Like I was back for Christmas break after my first semester, and I called you. Literally, this all happened in the same day. I called you on Christmas Eve, and I was like, "Hey Dom, are you busy for the next couple hours? You want to come over to my place and just like film something?" And you're like, "Yeah, okay." You come over and we decide to film an entire new Onerous short film, and
Dude.
we filmed that real quick. We had no script. Well, basically, we kind of had a script. You had some notes, and I gave you the writing credit because you basically just ad libbed the whole thing, and it was amazing doing all the dancing and the drawing on the cereal box.
Yeah,
Um,
the Toby dance, dude. That was iconic.
and yeah, you went home a couple hours later. I took all the footage and just spent the entire evening of Christmas Eve in 2020 editing that video. And I posted it. I can't remember if I posted it the same night, but I definitely had the video finished by the same night. And I posted it. I think the following morning is when I did. I think I waited.
Literally, yeah.
So it would actually be like the Christmas special, and yeah, that was real fun. I also have a lot of fond memories of Reid. You were involved in question 27.
Yes, I was. God, wow. Okay, yeah, I was there. I was there.
You were. You played uh, Captain Hall of the Dartmouth, which was
Yes,
the
the very historically accurate.
and yes, the historically accurate retelling of the Boston Tea Party. I'm I'm
that
I'm
that's
so glad
cool.
you brought your like colonial era like hat.
I know. I think I still have it in my room.
I'm not sure what we would have done without it. Like, well, we would have done like probably much the same thing, but probably without hats and probably with like a
It would
cowboy
have looked really, really goofy
hat.
in comparison to everything else.
Yeah, that film was definitely meant to be real goofy because we had
Yeah.
it was basically this one kid. That was our excuse of having it actually like not be all that historically accurate. Was it was this one guy who's bad at histories, like his retelling of it, or like how he thought history was. So we could get away with a lot of dumb crap like that, and I'm glad we at least had. I think the hat lent it a bit of credibility. Like I feel like that's
It definitely brought the whole thing together.
yeah, it's the one
Because
element.
if it wasn't there, it would have, I think,
Yeah,
not. I wouldn't say it was like not a what is it? It was important. It was important we have a tri-corner hat
yeah.
in the scenes.
I wouldn't say it gave it credibility, but it established it a little better, like the time period. Like people know what those hats look like, and people would have
Yeah.
them. So that was a real lifesaver on that one. What have you been up to in the past couple of years, Reid? As we've been so apart.
I have been doing basically just schoolwork. I've been doing a bunch of research and whatnot.
What are you studying?
I'm I am history, and then I am
Ooh,
minoring in medieval studies, and
oh, that's sick.
I will be doing, yeah, like really hardcore medieval research in like the next few years.
That's really cool.
That will be fun.
Yeah, like history is the kind of thing that like I've always been like the memes where it's like the Reddit historians or whatever, like people
Yes.
people who like try to like they know a lot of history and they're nerdy about it, but they're not actually like studying it. They just sort of pick up what they learned from like random YouTube videos or like Reddit like historical accounts or things like that.
Yeah.
That's kind of me when it comes to history. Like I have a fascination with it, and I feel like I know a lot about things like 20th century America, the World Wars, the Roman Empire, but like go into the specifics, no idea. I know very obscure things like from oversimplified and also like a combination of just like Hearts of Iron or other games like that. But
All
like,
of my historical knowledge comes from Paradox games.
pretty much, yeah. But yeah, that's my that's all my knowledge of history gets to
One
me.
thing, kind of relating to the short film, I was always, when we were in the middle of doing all of our shoots, the one thing I was always really surprised with was how involved some of the staff were for some of the shots, because literally like some of the teachers were helping out with the
Mr. Jeff Coat.
Ah,
I just
yeah,
think of that man
yeah. We
every
we had,
time.
we had a couple of staff members. We had Jeff Coate, who was the hall monitor in Task and Practical. We had Mr. Locke was like the main villain in
Oh my goodness, you're
yeah.
right,
Task and Practical.
Mr. Locke.
And then we had obviously Coach Nash would be like sort of mentoring us behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
And we also had our food science teacher, Miss Krause. She was kind of a last minute addition, to be honest, but she actually was a pretty good actress in Question 27. Because I think the original plan was what was it? We were going to be in like one of the soccer coaches who also like had like a class. I can't remember what other class he taught, but his actual classroom, we were going to go into his empty room, but it ended up being locked, and so we were like, what are we going to do? And we walk further down the hall, and our food science teacher, her room was open, and we just sort of on the spot, like during like it, she didn't have a class at the time. It was the first period of the day, and we were in Coach Nash's class. Coach Nash's class, like during first period, would be when we filmed. But we went into Miss Krause's room as there was no class, which is just a little bit down the hall. And we were like, "Hey, can we film in your room? And do you also want to be in this this like contest short film that we're doing?" And she's like, "Yeah, okay." But yeah, a lot of teachers would like just help us out with like random things, like, "Oh, we'll lend you like our room for a little while," or "Oh, we'll help you like hold like a camera," or even not for like our short films, but like for like our newscast stuff. We would do that kind of stuff all the time. We would just go
Oh, you're right.
to like other people's classes, like even when they might have had an actual class going on, we would show up for a couple minutes and just goof off. Like Mr. Yoder, we would ask him for like notes on some of our videos, and he would just stop class entirely, and these random like freshmen would watch our like work in progress videos, and they'd laugh, and that was always like nice. I always love it when people have like a positive response to the things I make, or the things that like I like
Well,
work
it's
on. It's always
certainly
very
better than having a negative response.
Yeah, it's a fact.
well, just seeing it's just a nice feeling, like seeing people smiling and laughing at like something that like you put like some real effort into. It's always nice.
Dude, that is such a truth, dude. I just remember just like all the newscasts, man. That kind of stuff. Like for instance, the two
Yeah,
things that come to mind when I
for context, me and Dominic, we did our like high school like weekly Friday newscast where we would talk about like current events. Sorry, go
No, you're good. We were straight up news anchors, dude. We were killing it.
ahead.
And I remember like two of the things I can't remember specifically what their titles were, but one of them had to involve like I can't even remember his name, but there was like grasshoppers taking over the school. Do you remember
Oh
that?
yeah, the cricket hunt.
The cricket hunt, dude. and how we have like permission to use that? It was like a golf court or a golf cart or
Oh,
something.
you're right. We had the school, what's the right term? It's not like security guard, but the guy who like mans the front gate and like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the right term was, but the guy who like opens the front gate like after the school starts and like drives around like ticketing people who like are parking like in a spot that they're not supposed to or whatever. That guy. We were walking around and there was this one day where I guess we had some really bad weather maybe the night before, and there was a huge infestation of crickets in the school, and we decided to film like a little segment where one of our friends Ben would walk around the school sort of like as like a Steve Irwin kind of parody and be like,
Mm-hmm.
crikey, there's crickets everywhere. And we had this scene where there like he like gets overwhelmed by the sheer amount of them and he runs out of school. And the one guy was on his golf cart, and we just run up to him and we're like, hey, do you want a quick cameo in this? And he's like, yeah, okay. And we're like, all right, sick. So here's what's gonna happen. This one guy is gonna come running frantically out of the school. He's gonna hop on the back of your golf cart and he's gonna go, let's get out of here, and then you guys drive off. And
Incredible.
yeah, that was a real fun memory. And then of course later on in that video, or actually it was earlier on in that video, we had a little bit of an incident, Dominic, if you
Yep.
remember.
Yeah, the fire alarm, wasn't it?
Yeah. So there was a bit in that video where and I don't know, Reid, if because you weren't there, and I don't know how much word spreads across the school, but we were doing this bit where he's there's like, oh, there's so many crickets in this room. He runs over to the schools.
Oh,
have
and he
those-
accidentally pulled the fire alarm?
Well, he didn't pull the fire alarm. That's what we were worried about. So he's like, "Oh, we got to get out of here, evacuate!" And then he pulls or like he just taps the glass. And I think what we were gonna do is add in the sound effect. So he would sort of like lightly tap the glass, and then we would add in like the beep 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 beep.
Mm-hmm.
But what accidentally happened is apparently, and I didn't know this, if you even so much as slightly bump into one of those things or the glass is ajar, even before you actually pull the fire alarm, it sets off this. It's localized, so it's only at that one bit. Unfortunately, we were in like an empty auditorium, so nobody else probably heard it. But you bump the glass, which he did, and it was a very loud beep 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 beep.
I've got to get out of here, man. Be sure to visit me next time on BHN in Australia.
And you can even see he has like a very shocked reaction on his face. Like if we were looking back at the footage, we were laughing about it later, obviously, because you can laugh about things later.
I've got to get out of here, man. Be sure to visit me next time on BHN in Australia.
But at the time,
Yeah.
we were very, very worried that we accidentally made all the fire alarms in the school start beeping.
Dude, you could tell Ben's face, man. He was kind of scared for a second there. You could tell. He like lifts it or something. He like lifts that little cover, like touches it barely, and his face had terror written all over, man.
He thought he was going to die that day. he would be executed.
The shadow realm.
And the worst part was having to walk to the office and tell like the angry like front, like I feel like every school has an angry front desk lady.
Oh yeah.
And having to tell them and them just looking like so disappointed in us. It was real terrifying. But fortunately we realized it was only like that location and they were able to fix it real quick. But yeah, that was a real scary day.
I think I vaguely remember that.
I do know that it went around a little bit. People were like, what was that noise? And then some other people were like, oh, I heard something got pulled. And that's always fun having like it's
Oh, yeah.
what's the term, like Chinese whispers, where like one story gets told and then as the more you tell it to other people, the more the story gets distorted. So one person thought like the fire alarm got friggin' pulled and things like that, and some guy got in real big trouble. But fortunately it was less we didn't get in that much trouble. We just got told like, hey, don't do this is real dumb.
Good times, man. I'm telling you, that video, I'm pretty sure it was like one of the most viewed videos we've made, right? If I'm not wrong, like on the
was,
school's like
well,
YouTube.
Yeah, that it wasn't like a Prof Publications thing. Yeah, I think our most viewed Prof Publications thing is Onerous 1.
There you go.
Task and Practical might have caught it, but I'm not sure. But I think it's still Onerous won. But I think definitely our most popular news video or like school video was definitely the cricket one, because it was just such a good, like, it was so meme worthy. And also we had things like the Dominic the winter formal and the homecoming video.
Oh, yeah, of course. That video will stay with me till I die. I love that one.
Was it you or Aiden? I think it might have been Aiden who told me a story of how, like, some of the freshmen, or I keep saying freshmen as a like a an overall term for just people that we don't know in grades below us, but like some kids were like walking up to him and being like, they recognized him as because Aiden Snook was the villain in that homecoming video. He was like jealous that he didn't have a date, and he was like trying to ruin homecoming or something like that. I think that's what it was.
Yep.
And people were recognizing him, like, it's the guy who ruins homecoming.
A bunch of freshmen coming up to you. Hey, buddy, you ruined it for everyone.
You're a local celebrity. Oh, I love that. Yeah, it was Dominic and Colin Fisher who basically in both of those videos, they played like the protagonists, and like Dominic was like he was the audience surrogate or whatever, who was like, what's homecoming or what's winter formal. And I'm so disappointed that COVID, because we the three of us, we were class of 2020. So COVID cut short our senior year a little bit, and we never got to. We were going to do a trilogy, and prom would have been the third one, and we had some ideas for it, but unfortunately, it was not to be.
Not to be. It was not this timeline, man. I'm telling you, that movie, or that I feel like we would have like done real good, because it's prom. It's coming towards the end of our high school career. It would have gone off for sure.
Oh yeah, we would have gone out with a bang. This reminds me, because I was talking to while I was in College Station recently. I was talking to Aiden Snook, and he and I actually we met up for we met at like a Rudy's. We met for like the first time, like in person, for I think since we recorded that director's commentary. He and I did a director's commentary, so it's been like quite a few years since we've talked. And he and I were saying the 10-year anniversary of Prof Publications is this year, Dominic. Can you believe it?
No way.
And he and I were thinking what could be fun to do is we do like a tier listing, where we before we do it, we like rewatch all of our old stuff. And then like we have like a big group of us, like we just like we tier rank like all of the different films, which I will also, like, admittedly, like I'll probably need to do like a rewatch and watch like a lot of our old stuff.
Same here.
But I'm thinking it'd be fun to like compile like all of our like old school videos and all of our Prof Publications videos, and like do like a big tier listing. Which I imagine that the homecoming and winter formal would be quite high up on that list.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
And Rogue Sentinel will probably be quite near the bottom of that.
Quite near the bottom. Oh, that I can still remember those days out there in the wilderness and that cold.
Oh, that was so cold doing Rogue Sentinel. Rogue Sentinel was our second short film, and it was like a couple of weeks after Onerous that we actually filmed that.
You're right.
And I think the fight scene was pretty good.
Yeah, I think that was really dope, actually.
Like me and you, like we had this like hand-to-hand like combat like fist fight thing at the end, and that was actually really good. I think the only reason that was actually really good is because it's the only thing we actually like kind of did a bit of rehearsal and practice. Everything else, like the gunfight and the dialogue, were just us. Like I think what we did is like we were so cold, we just wanted to get it over with. We just like we would have somebody read a line like on the script, like off camera, and then the actor would say the line, and then we'd do that over and over, and then I'd cut back and forth, like having all the dialogue, and it was just so bad. Do you want to know a funny thing, Dominic, that I've done? I've gone back and I've actually used YouTube's editing like tools, and I've cut out all of the dialogue. So
No way.
so Rogue Sentinel might actually go from like an F to like a D. Because
Dude, that makes so much sense.
there's no more dialogue. So basically what happens now is Connor walks up to me, and then I just shoot him. It's actually quite comical now. So
Oh man.
yeah, if you go
I
back
gotta
and,
watch this.
if you go back and rewatch Rogue Sentinel, you'll just see Connor walks up to me and I just pull a gun and shoot him in the eye.
Yep.
So yeah,
Like
at least
you do.
Now it's a little bit humorous. But yeah,
Dude, that's amazing.
I remember if COVID hadn't happened, we were gonna do a remake. Because me and Aiden filmed like a bulletin video like at the gazebo, and we made a whole poster. We had like an outline. I don't think we actually had like a full blown script. We might have had like some scenes or whatever, but we definitely had like an outline for it, which I'm not sure if I still have, but I can kind of remember it from memory. And we were gonna remake the Rogue Sentinel with Ben. And we did like a little bit of like testing, like test footage. We also did like we took a poster image or images for the poster of him like in the leather jacket. It looked really cool, but unfortunately, COVID happened and it was not to be. But I wonder how that would have turned out in an alternate universe where we actually did that.
Right. Good times, man. Jeez, that gazebo came in clutch
How
for all those
many-
bulletins.
I was actually just about to say that. Like, how many bulletin videos did we film there? Because you did one, Aiden Snook did one.
Uh-huh.
I think. I don't know.
I was not a gazebo.
Yeah, the bulletin that me and you, filmed was in your guest house. It was after the Rise of Skywalker review.
It was after the Rise of Skywalker review, yeah.
And you put on a Darth Vader.
We
helmet.
made Amish Vader.
Yeah, it was Amish Vader. You put the back half of his helmet on backwards and on top of your head. And
Dude, that's awesome.
I think what happened was like we had the intro where like I did my whole thing and I was like, hello and welcome to Prof Publications Bulletin. I'm here with Reid Lindemann. And then we like on top of it we layered on some footage of whatever we were talking about. I think we were talking about like the review that just got posted or that was about to get posted. And as that footage was on top of the screen, we had you like as I was talking like, hey, check out this. Like you put on the helmet and then we cut back to you saying like, that's absolutely right. And welcome to this week's edition of the Prof Publications Bulletin.
The first episode of the Aiden Squared Review Show reviewing The Rise of Skywalker will be coming out tomorrow.
That's absolutely right.
Yeah. And it was just for that one bit. It's like 2 seconds, but we had to film us talking without the helmet so you could get the audio alone of me talking.
Oh, that's
and then we had
right.
to film me with the helmet on, fake talking.
Yeah, you moved your hands a little bit. Like you sort of moved your hands as if you were talking, and I responded after a couple seconds of like awkward silence, being like, "Oh yes,
Awkward silence.
very, very correct."
Without a doubt.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that kind of stuff. I would just reply to him, just like moving his hands a little bit, and then I'd be like, "Yep, sounds good." Yeah, that's the kind of dumb filmmaking techniques that I think we excel at.
Dude, we are masterclass at this. I feel like you should give a masterclass just on like how to do like these tomfoolery
Just a YouTube
short
tutorial
films,
of
dude.
how to make crappy, dumb short films and like just filmmaking techniques. That would honestly probably be a kind of entertaining to watch.
Honestly, I feel like a lot of people would just feel like, you know what? I could actually incorporate a couple of these things, man, because they're just like, it is legit. I'm not gonna lie. Straight up for me, I just feel like it's just funny. I just feel like it's straight funny. You're having a blast.
I feel like we like back in like our high school days, like comparatively to a lot of people, I feel like we had like, because I'm a self-taught editor, and I feel like our stuff was higher in quality, at least compared to the average, or like the average like student film that would be made by high schoolers. Like I feel like we we're able to pull off a lot of stuff that couldn't be done on such a low budget, because sometimes, unfortunately, people will have such high budgets where they like blow their money on stuff, but like in terms of the visual, like the on camera stuff, like they'd have like a really nice set or whatever, but unfortunately, like the camera work or like the color grade or some of the editing techniques or the sound might be a little subpar, and it's so disheartening to see, because like if I'll sometimes I'm looking at like a short film or like a student film. Even I was like watching some of our competition, because I did that when we were doing our film competitions. I would watch our competition to see what we were up against, and I'd be like, man, if I was editing this, it probably would have been a lot better.
All right.
Yeah, I've thought actually about doing some kind of tutorials. I remember like back during like the Onerous 2, Onerous 3 kind of time period, I thought about recording like maybe like a Muzzle Flash tutorial or something like that, where I would go into like, oh, you got to make like a little bit of light appear like on people's faces. Like it doesn't even have to be like all that fancy. Like you just need to find like a good stock asset from wherever. I think the big one was Action Essentials, but I know Action Essentials is actually like quite old, so this might be Boomer Aiden talking. But a lot of my old like assets for overlay details would be like from Action Essentials or random things like that. But yeah, you just need a good, like for a Muzzle Flash, a good stock asset. You need to apply the screen filter on top of it, make sure the angle of the flash is right, make sure it's the right type of flash, depending on if you're shooting like a pistol. If you're shooting a pistol, you can't have like the rifle style muzzle flash where it goes out the sides of the barrel. You just need a little bit of light, goes a long way. Just a little bit of light effects on somebody's face, and then maybe a shell casing. I'm gonna be honest. The only time I actually added shell casings was Onerous 1, and then I just stopped doing it. But I feel like if I were to go back and do another one, I would add shell casings to my stuff and try to refine it a little bit, because I'm always improving. I'm trying to improve. And
there you go.
You know, you always it would be interesting to do another one. Unfortunately, I don't think it will happen, because you know, just of how life goes and people's schedules, and that we're all in different towns and states. But
yeah,
I definitely think what could be fun is to do like Onerous 5 or something, like some kind of Onerous sequel, but do it as like an animation, because voice acting is simple. You just have people record, you can send it over, and then I can just do all it. It will take a while, but I feel like that could be like a good compromise, or like an audiobook thing, which we definitely talked about doing. But I feel like an animation could be fun.
animation would be pretty sick. You know, you would add like a couple of Easter eggs, some things that on like die-hard Onerous fans would know.
Or like the opening. You know how some films do, like some sequels like do a opening recap where they have footage from the other one, and it's sort of like a condensed. Maybe like I animate like parts of the other ones, and it's like a recap up to that point, and then we have like the final. Somebody who's watching it for the first time just goes through the whole playlist, and suddenly it's just this crappy animation.
Like, whoa, it all led up.
Oh, wow.
This is what it's all been leading up to.
Dude, that'd be so sick, man. Whenever you were mentioning, just to backtrack a little, I don't know why, whenever you're mentioning like the muzzle flash, it brought me like back to a canon event, man. An event that happened our freshman year was whenever I grabbed that hand sanitizer bottle. You know
No.
you know what I'm saying?
You know, yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about, and I'll put it up on the screen. It was a test shot that we filmed in Coach Nash's class. This was maybe like a month or two before Onerous, and it was meant to be like test footage, because Dominic hadn't, like at that point we hadn't done any live action short films yet. Dominic had no idea of the raw power I possessed of being able to make guns look like they're firing when it's just like fake airsoft guns. And so I was like, "Oh, Dominic, I'll make something real quick." So me and Dominic, like since me and Dominic were really good at this stuff in the class, like we would always finish our work. Like Coach Nash had this lesson plan for the next hour and a half, and me and Dominic would always finish it at the latest in like 10 minutes. So we would basically have like an hour and 20 minutes every day to basically just fuck around and do whatever we want. So what happened was I was like, oh, Dominic, I'll show you how I can edit like gun effects for our upcoming film. I filmed Dominic like taking like the hand sanitizer bottle, and I pretended to have it be like it would be like an automatic rifle where he was just like shooting a fully automatic like hand sanitizer dispenser. And I added like muzzle flashes, I added lighting effects, I added bullet holes, the whole shebang. And
Whole shebang.
I rendered the video, and I'm like, hey Dominic, check this out. And I have it on my laptop or my phone, I can't remember. And I play it for him, but my headphones had come like unplugged or something like that.
Yeah.
And it was at full volume in the middle of class. People are doing their work. Me and Dominic are fucking around. And just all of a sudden, imagine, Reid, you're just sitting at your desk, getting your work done, and all of a sudden from the other side of the class, you just hear... like bullets.
Oh, man.
And I was so red-faced. I turned around and I was like, oh, sorry, everybody. I got a pop-up ad on my computer. Or some bullshit excuse. I was so fucking like red-faced for the rest of that class. I was like, I will never emotionally recover from that.
Oh, man. Dude, I'm telling you, like, I'm not gonna lie. After you showed me that, after the embarrassment like left us,
After the embarrassment subsided.
yeah, I was like, honestly, like, I'm in. Like, this is awesome. Like, I think this is so sick. In my mind, I'm just thinking, like, dude, if he can do this, like, just imagine like the amount of fun we can have with this. This is gonna be sick.
Yep.
And it turned out like super cool,
The
super fun.
rest was history.
The rest was written down in history. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And
Yeah.
I definitely don't think Prof Publications' time telling stories is over. Far from it, in fact. I think we'll definitely, in whatever medium it ends up being, if we end up doing like a reunion live action film, or if we end up doing like animations from now on, I definitely think we're not done telling stories, and it'll be a lot of fun continuing the universes we've created.
Absolutely, man. I'm telling you, because it's just a place where you and your buddies, it's just like the best setting. You and your buddies, you're messing around, having a fun time, but also you lock in, you get a little serious, and you start making like these like nice little stories that you just come off like right off the bin, right off the head. You're just thinking about these things, and they turn out to be like really fun things, and the story's like super cool. You make lasting memories, and it's like something that I highly recommend anyone to do. Because
Yeah.
like, even I don't know, it just like, even though I didn't have the editing skills and you did, we made it work. We made it work, and
Yeah.
and we just grabbed more buddies to come along the way, and it just became like such a fun time.
Yeah, like any hobby you have, just basically if you're thinking about doing something like that, which I highly recommend you do if you're still like at that point in your life and you have a passion for telling stories. Just get a group together, a solid group of friends that you know each other, you know what you're about, you know what you want to do, and you know your strengths. Use those skills in your own way. In a collaborative effort. Like, I'm good at the editing, Dominic's good at the acting, the storytelling, the comedy aspects, obviously. Dominic definitely knows how to tell a good joke and make like a good practical effect, some good slapstick comedy, that kind of thing.
Slapstick going.
Just use what you're good at, and yeah, you'll have a good time.
Absolutely, man. I'm telling you, I can look back and, man, I just still remember like all the little things, especially like I still don't understand why I scream "you fool" like at the end of like Onerous one, man. I don't know. I can't remember why I did.
You fool! You fool!
You fool!
You fool!
It was,
Do you remember why?
Well, that was kind of like because Onerous 1 was like December of 2017.
Oh, yeah, it's 2017. Yeah.
So that would have been sophomore year, and sophomore year, your catchphrase was like you would say it all the time. You would say it. I think it's because we watched like Gilbert Gottfried.
Yes, you're right. In class, we did.
Yeah, we watched Gilbert Gottfried playing. I can't remember. Does anybody know? Is it called Celebrity Squares or Hollywood Squares? It's that tic-tac-toe. It's that tic-tac-toe game show where like you have the different celebrities like guessing questions in like a tic-tac-toe grid, and the contestants would have to ask them like, "Hey, I think the format of that show is like the host asks a question like, "Hey, what is Steve Austin's wrestler name?" And then Gilbert Gottfried would, or the celebrity would have to answer the question, and they would say like Stone Cold, and the contestant would be they would have to then guess like, is the celebrity correct or is the celebrity wrong? And the contestant got it wrong in that clip, and Gilbert Gottfried yells, "You fool!"
The Crusher.
The Crusher.
I'll agree. You fool!
You fool!
And we watched that in class early on, and then all of a sudden, for the rest of sophomore year, that was like your like inside joke. We would say that like at football games and stuff, in class when somebody got something wrong. It was hilarious. And then I think Onerous 1, we just kind of included it, like it wasn't in the script, but I think you said "you fool" after I walked away, and because that was your brain was just on autopilot. And
Autopilot, yep.
And after that, I think we decided to like I think by junior year when we did Onerous 2, like you didn't say it as much, but because it was in Onerous 1, we wanted to like have like a little bit of a callback, because it had been honestly like a year and a half between Onerous 1 and 2, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But we decided to end that one also with a "you fool," and then from then on we just decided to keep it as a running joke. So every single Onerous film ends with you saying "you fool," and then the holiday special I say "you fool."
You fool!
Yeah.
When you left the cookies in the oven.
Oh my goodness, the cookies in the oven. Man. Yep. Now I remember. And I'm like, I don't know why I kept on saying it all the time, but it worked. We figured it out. We implemented it into the short films.
It's classic Dom. It's nice to have
classic
a catchphrase.
Classic Dom. Yes, sir.
Well, unfortunately, I think that's all the time we have for today's episode. It was really fun getting to talk to you guys again. I really enjoyed the excuse of doing this in order to catch up with y'all.
Likewise.
I agree.
And I definitely think we'll be doing more of this in the near future. And yeah, I think we definitely should. That'll be the 10-year anniversary. So stay tuned for the tier listing of all our old short films. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss that. And thank you very much. See ya. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.